What's today? Tell me what's going on.
Today is the official grand opening. It's all getting started right now, and to say the least, I'm about as nervous as you could possibly be. It's unbelievable to sit up here and see this crowd of people starting to form here, you know, but I'm so shook. Imagine standing around Love Park, fenced off with like all these pros about to show up and skate it. It's just insane. It's really, really bizarre.
We got here at 7 o'clock, bright and early.
We came from Denver to Detroit, and then Detroit to here.
I'm just pumped to see this whole thing go down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm psyched. Sweet.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Oh my God, the thing is actually happening. Ladies and gentlemen, you are at the Rob Dyrdek Skate Plaza, the first of its kind. Look at this place. The dream is true. It's so cold in this house. Open mouth,
This is heaven.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's really awesome.
I'm still like taking it all in. I just got here. The place is pretty cool. It's amazing.
That came true. I really wanted to show how this place could be utilized straight out the gate, you know, so that's why I put together more like a glorified best trick contest, you know, a real street competition in a real street environment, and Red Bull put up the prize money, you know, it really made for, you know, a really, really exciting first day.
Welcome to the Kettering Skate Plaza.
It's been a long process, but in the end, it's bigger than just a single skate plaza. You know, it's really about trying to create a movement to try to have skate plazas built all over the country. reason I wanted to do this documentary is I want to bring awareness to build these real street environments for skateboarding, you know? Because if we don't step up and make sure it's done right, no one's going to do it right for us. You know, the idea isn't some just great original idea on behalf of me. It's a simple concept that all of skateboarding has been waiting for 10 years. Just build a duplicated street environment, not a skate park, but a park to skate in.
So the concept of the skate plaza is really based on just making an environment that mimics what most street skateboarders are skating today.
That's what this plaza is really designed to be, is for all the majority kids that are street skaters, getting a place to skate.
You know, before I explain the concept of the skate plaza, I'd like to first sort of explain the origins of street skating. In the 80s, street skateboarding, you know, really began to develop itself. The tricks started going from ramps to utilizing real street environments. It started first with curbs, and as the sport evolved, it went to benches, then tables, then handrails, all of which took a new meaning. They became skateboard spots. In a lot of these major cities, you know, there were a concentration of spots that became sort of the epicenter for the skateboard culture. Like Philadelphia, there was Love Park. In San Francisco, there was EMB. For skateboarders, these became like skateboard hubs. But along with skateboarding's growing popularity came this big push for this anti-skateboarding campaign, you know, which led to the development of skate proofing, putting knobs on skatable surfaces so that a skateboard couldn't ride across anymore. Security guards were put in place. People would now call the police to try to run off skateboards.
Yeah, parts of the city are getting knobbed, and security's getting a lot more harsh.
Yeah. Most of what there is to skate is illegal.
You get tickets, a lot of tickets.
It didn't go unnoticed that there needed to be places built for skateboarders, and cities recognized that. But the problem was there was a disconnect between skate park design and the way that skateboarding had evolved.
You know, when a city decides to make a park and then they design a bad one and they just say that's what you have to skate, you know, we made it for you, and so why aren't you skating it? But it's bad. It's kind of like, you know, what the kids are supposed to do. So
I'm from Springboro, Ohio, and there's only North Park, and it sucks. There's like nothing there. I just get to skate on my driveway and do nothing.
And that skate parks, as they were currently being built, didn't even match what kids were doing, what they wanted to do.
Which has led to an epidemic of bad skate parks where someone like, you know, it's like you always hear about a skate park, you're so excited, it finally gets built and it sucks.
Yeah, they build something that costs like a lot of money, and then you're all stoked to see it and everything, and then it comes out and you're just like, oh man, this sucks.
If 10 million kids are street skaters and you recognize as a city that, you know, we want to do something to help these kids and you want to build a place for them, why not build an environment that replicates what they skate?
Just no one's ever done it, and if no one's ever going to do it, why can't we make it happen? We understand what needs to happen, let's just go do it.
Right as I was really getting into knowing that I had to really make this project happen, I was approached by the city of Kettering about helping them design a skate park. And the city of Kettering is where I grew up in Ohio. And for me, you know, it meant a lot to me to be able to give back to the community that I came from.
From there on out, it was just Rob working with site design to make the design, and he learned how to draft, he learned how to like show the measurements and how to do it all, and like killed it with that thing.
So what I did, the architects taught me how to draft in 20:1 scale, and then suggested that I go out and shoot photos of everything that I skate and measure it.
I remember seeing a book that he had that he went out and took photos and measurements of all the best skate spots that he could possibly find, you know.
Which I used as sort of a guideline of kind of knowing what would be a good obstacle here and there throughout the plaza. And then I set off and drafted the plaza to the millimeter, 27,000 square feet. You know, that's when it really got fun, because to me it was just penciling in your dream spot one at a time. You know, finally, construction documents done, out to bid, comes back, everything's a go, construction starts, we break ground.
That aspect of it wasn't as strong as the following August, when there was actually a bulldozer moved onto this land and started moving dirt. Then you knew it was on its way.
Working on my dream right here, gentlemen, just letting you know. Feels incredible, man. I can't even begin to tell you.
But you could just tell, you know, with his eyes that, you know, this thing is really real, you know, it's gonna happen.
And it's psychotic. This is where the 13's gonna start right here. You know, dudes coming in hot from right there.
And the only problem with Rob, it just doesn't happen fast enough. You know, he wanted it done yesterday and it just never got done. So it took another 8 months probably before it got finally finished. So, you know, he was probably not sleeping too well until this thing was totally done.
Well, I think for Rob that the sooner it got built, the better. You know, there were several delays in the construction because of weather, the winter, and stuff like that. But it was just good to see it started.
You know, it was a rainy summer and a cold fall, which really just slowed down the actual construction process. By December, it was snowing full scale, and you know, it looked like the first snow plaza.
So it took 3 months out of the process, and once March was here, boom, boom, boom. The biggest jobs were already done, the center part. So weather's always going to be a factor here.
Flying out to Ohio right now to skate the plaza for the very first time. So brought Anthony Van Anglen along, meeting Josh Kalis out there, and real excited. You know, it's finally the first time to really test the surface, test the ledges, test the rails, test everything to get a good idea of how well it's been built.
Oh, first trick at the plaza.
It seems unreal, you know. It seems like it's a rendering in a brochure as opposed to a real place that's about to become a reality, you know.
This is awesome. I'm about to get a sleeping bag in a tent and live right here. Cleanup time.
Then the hardcore critiquing it for me personally started to kick in, where, oh, I could have made this a little bit bigger, could have made this a little bit shorter, could have made this a little bit longer. You know, there was a lot of things. There was some cracks in front of the rails that, you know, as a skateboarder, you hate cracks. Well, again, all of these were built with cracks right in front of them, and cut them all out to redo it. So you got 4 feet of runway before you hit the rails, you know. So they moved the crack because cracks are whack.
It's hard for me to believe it's this close to being completed. It just, you know, it's Rob's dream, you know, and it's kind of mine in a sense too, watching his come true. So it's going to be a phenomenal event here coming up June 11th. So can't wait for it to be here.
The first time I actually saw the skate plaza, I was pulling up for the grand opening. I was really surprised at how many people were there. Like, that was my initial reaction. I could barely see the place because there were so many kids there.
You know, tons of kids came out to support, tons of pros came out to support it. You know, that shows not only the success, but also an indication of how much, you know, skate plazas are needed around this country.
Opening day was probably one of the biggest highlights probably of this whole thing, was knowing that it was actually going to be done and kids were allowed to get on this thing and start skating.
I'm really proud to be standing here because today is a landmark occasion in the history of skateboarding. It marks a change in the way skate parks can be designed and built, a change that has been needed for a long time. So please give Rob a round of applause.
I thank everybody for coming out, and hopefully this becomes the landmark for modern street skating, which I'm sure that it will. And it was an honor for me to do it, and it's an honor to finally cut this ribbon, I can tell you that much. So thanks everybody.
So welcome to the Kettering Skate Plaza.
The look in the kids' eyes when they get up on top of that thing, and it's just like they were in a candy store.
Oh my God! It's just amazing to actually see it in person and like actually be able to watch people skate it, you know? Really, really psyched that we were able to pull it all together and get it made, you know?
Everything's perfect. The next kids that come around here, some little kids around here already look like they're professionals, you know? Yeah. They're gonna learn a lot of new tricks just because of the spot that they had. I wish I had a spot like this when I grew up.
Of course they're gonna be good. Kids are gonna come here and skate, they're just gonna get better, you know?
Yeah, I think this place is gonna breed rail annihilation and hub of destruction.
It kind of reminded me of the EMB and Love Park. Like, kids used to travel from all over the world to go to those places because they're one of a kind. And I think even just on that first day of the plaza opening, it showed that it was going to have that type of draw too.
About 1 billion kids showed up today. I've seen them all.
Where do you think they all came from?
Everywhere.
I'm from Michigan.
Really?
From Michigan.
How long did it take you to get here?
A good 7 hours. All for this.
How far did you guys drive?
A couple 100 miles.
Yeah. It was worth it though. It's definitely worth it.
It's the best park I've been to, ever.
Yeah.
Rob Dyrdek is my hero.
The skateboarding community that is 13 million strong in the United States alone is hungry for this concept, and the fact that there's people here from dusk till dawn every single day from all over the country skateboarding is a testament to that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's a destination spot. I mean, it's gonna be a lot of people coming just for this park.
I'm from Philadelphia, and this place is a skateboard candy land.
Yeah, around the globe, people are gonna come to skate this.
I flew from Barcelona to Philadelphia, Philadelphia to LA, LA to Chicago, Chicago, Dayton, Ohio, just to come and see the Plaza. I wanted to see the guys, I wanted to see Rob, and I wanted to see what he's done, you know, so I've seen it, I'm super stoked. I got to skate with all my friends, and I had a really good time. So. Skate Plaza itself is sort of the first step in introducing what street skating is to the mainstream.
It definitely helps. I'm sure parents around here see like what real street skating is now.
And now the plaza is there, people can see it, they can use it as an example of what is needed and wanted by the street skaters of today.
I mean, any other park can't even have a ledge this good to skate.
That's why there's so many pros and teams and companies that have been coming through the Skate Plaza alone, you know, just in the middle of the summer. And it'll be like that as long as this place is here.
Gotta come here, check it out, it's banging.
I mean, it's incredible, you know, and to see it come to life is, you know, a very rewarding thing, and through it all, I'm really glad I did it. But you want to know what else it means the world to me is it's bigger than a skate park. This is a community center for everyone that lives around here. You know, there's families hanging out, there's girls hanging out on the ledge, there's little kids packed up together with their helmets, then there's the older cool kids trying to get a trick filming. You know, it's everything that this concept was on paper, only it's live now and here forever.
I always wanted to go to a place like Love Park where you can hang out and skate, and this is what it is.
This is somewhere where you can just like go and chill and have a good time.
Couldn't ask for anything more than that. Just skating, having fun.
Yeah. Once my friend can drive, we'll be here every day.
The biggest thing on top of all that is the support of the parents bringing their kids all that distance down here, and they're just dying to have one of these things built in their city.
I come here a whole bunch, and my grandma and my dad brings me here pretty much.
We've got one at a city called Reynoldsburg out there. He goes there, but it's nowhere near this. I mean, this is amazing, man.
We have softball fields, we have tennis courts, we have all kinds of other activities in the city of Kettering that don't get used from sun up till sundown. So from that standpoint, it's one of the best things that's going on for the city of Kettering because it's being used 100% of the time.
It's great. We love it. I've been bringing Dylan and my other son John up here since it opened. So it's a good place for the community. It was a wonderful thing that he did to design it. So thank you.
It's been a long process, but in the end, it's bigger than just a single skate plaza. You know, it's really about trying to create a movement and really make a push to try to have skate plazas built all over the country because it's really what we need in this modern era of street skateboarding.
It's going to take more of these, I think, to get everyone in the whole country to really catch on to that. You know?
In the next couple years, you're just going to see a lot more of them being built in cities all around the United States and who knows where. And all of them are going to be different. It's all going to suit the areas that they're in.
So really the success for us in the long run will just be creating real street skate spots for kids to skate. So that started now and I think it has a bright future. So we're really psyched to be a part of that.
Hindrance expansion over and over again. David.
I'd rather do something for peace than only think of it.
No, but the average height, that's a good ledge, is probably about 18 inches for average height. And with this one I added, did you just fart? Okay, for this one I just added a design.
I didn't.
Did you?
I
heard
swear.
I didn't. You did. You just couldn't hear it in your headphones.
You would see such a smirk on my face.
Alright, can we cut into that one?
So thanks to Rob Deerneck, Kettering is now home to the world's very first skate park plaza. In Kettering, I'm Jack Cole. Two sports. Oh! It wasn't pretty, but it counts, right?
Yes. A lot of crazy people, crazy things. It's the Plaza, Ohio.
I'm just gonna tell you right now, look, if you hit your taint, don't worry about it, just like a shinner, it'll go away in a few minutes.
shit.
We ready? Yeah. You know, getting a skate plaza in your town will definitely take a lot of work. There's a couple easy steps that can help you accelerate the process. And number one, you want to organize, get as many skaters together and sort of band together to go to your city council and present the concept and the idea and, you know, really show. And the more people you have, the more it shows that you really want this project done for your city. You know, another way is for that sort of adult presence, help organize with a local skate shop, which is usually the epicenter of the skate culture in that area. You know, utilize their presence as a business to put a little bit more pressure on the city to kind of push the idea through. And you know, you'll go through a series of process where you will go to council meetings and deal with city and park recreation people and just, you know, by continually showing them that this will help, you know, solve the problem of damaging, you know, property in their community, and that this is really what you would prefer to skateboard on as opposed to a traditional park, will really sort of shed light on it, because it's on you as a skater to educate the city, to explain to them what you really want, because ultimately a city's there to provide a proper place for the community, and a lot of times you know, community will already have recognized the fact that they want to build something for skateboarding, and this is a good opportunity for you again to organize and bring as many street skaters down there and, you know, let your opinion be heard that this is what you want. You want a real street environment to ride your skateboard on, and again, use any of the tools from our website or from the video to help educate the city council, for the most part, that may not necessarily understand the differences in skateboarding, and this will give you a lot further along in getting a skate plaza built in your town. Quintessential obstacle of modern street skating, the handrail. Now, the handrail itself, there's a lot of little details that make a handrail skatable. One of the biggest problems with handrails in the modern street is when they put in the expansion joint, a lot of times they'll put the expansion joint 6 inches back from a stair. Now, a skateboarder's worst nightmare is a crack. So what we did at the plaza was before all the rails, we made about a 4-foot long pour before the expansion joint. This enables you to make sure that you've got plenty of time to ride up and you got a smooth ride up before you hit the rails. All right, so there's many different ways to develop a handrail, and a lot of things to consider are stair size and heights of the rail. And for the most part, on an average, between 5 to 6 inch tall stair that's about 12 to 14 inches long is pretty much the average height for a skatable handrail. And most rails are between 30 and 34 inches tall, depending on the size of the stair. So most bigger rails, say 10 and above, tend to have taller stairs that are shorter. So when it comes to the material for rails themselves, you gotta understand that skateboard trucks are made out of aluminum. So aluminum and aluminum they grip each other. So all the rails are made out of steel. And you know, there's many different ways to approach a rail. You know, it could be, you know, a round rail, 2-3 inches. Could be square, you know, 2-3 inches. So really, for the most part, the main things to consider are run up, space. You got to think that you need at least a 40-foot of runway to comfortably hit a handrail, depending on the size. You know, no cracks before the handrail, skateboarder's worst nightmare. Always out of steel, and just always keep it real. This is an example of a rail that was based more off of a rail that you would find for a handicap ramp, where it's just a few stairs, but it extends out further, creating more of a flat bar as opposed to a traditional handrail with the steepness of the stairs. Just again, it's still in the same sort of general parameters of height, but sort of creating a simpler, easier obstacle to skate than a 7-stair rail. This is more of an example of another style of flat bar where it was put on a double set of stairs, a 2 with a large flat space and a 2 again. What is really skatable about this rail is this flat part here. So really, as a skateboarder, you would fly out and just skate the flat part and drop to the flat. So this again is just another example of a different style rail. So for this rail here, this is kind of a combination of a flat bar and a traditional rail. What I did with this one is really made this stair 4 inches tall and 24 inches long, which what that does is creates a much mellower, longer rail. Again, this is just showing the example of the way you pull, twist, and tweak the stairs creates a whole different style rail. And you can create them longer and mellower as long as they're not too tall. You know, if it's going to be longer and mellower, you're going to want to keep it closer to the 30 range as opposed to the 34 range. This is just another example of a style of a rail. This is an example of combining a ledge and just a flat rail to create another hit. Because more or less, you would ollie up right along the ledge, and then you'd be able to shoot off and hit this rail as a flat bar. You know, and again, it's just another unique way to show where you can put a rail in any type of situation and it can become skatable. This is an example of the biggest rail at the skate plaza. It's the real deal. This is a 12-stair handrail. For this skate plaza, it's the biggest obstacle here. For the most part, it will probably be the least used, but the most dramatic tricks will be done on it. As you can see, the handrail is a huge part of any skate plaza. What I really want to do is show you different examples of how you can take a rail and adapt it in this environment and make it skatable. Just be creative and be cautious of all the details to make sure that there's plenty of runway and space, as well as no cracks. An essential thing to modern street skating is just really subtle, simple ramps, you know, and for the most part they're found in streets and different like loading docks and wheelchair ramps, like is naturally where they're found. So what I tried to do when adapting it to the plaza was from different levels and different zones of stairs, just create like a 4-foot wide space with a nice natural ramp in it. I also use it so for the ability to be able to get from different levels of the plaza without necessarily having to ollie a gap or shoot a gap, just being able to ride through it. And again, with this particular bump, this is more of a ditch style integration, whereas as opposed to putting another set of stairs here, I just made it an embankment all the way across on both sides, more in the vein of a ditch where you could just fly through it, you can do tricks off of it, and I even integrated a regular size railing in which you could use the bump to get up onto. But again, with this, the key to this particular bump itself is that there's plenty of space and speed to be able to utilize it. Stairs themselves are pretty much the glue that pulls the whole plaza together and separates and divides all the levels, creates the zones for the handrails and the ledges off stairs. The formula for the stairs, again, is the same that for most handrails, where it's usually 4 to 6 inches tall, 12 to 14 inches long, you know, sometimes again as long as 2 feet depending on the style. And again, just another thing to watch out for is if you do need to put an expansion joint at stairs, as long as it's at the bottom, because for the most part you'll land past it, but the smartest thing to do is have the expansion joint be in the bottom of the very last stair and 4 feet back from the top stair. A 2-stair, 3-stair, you know, scattered about all over in many different ways is fundamental in modern street skating. A very, very essential detail when it comes to building a skate plaza is spacing. It's important that you don't try to pack in too many things in a small area. You gotta understand that space is relative to the size of each obstacle. To hit a ledge, you would roughly need 30 to 40 feet of run up to get ready to go. And you know, you want at least 5 or so feet, 5 to 8 feet in space in order to come in at an angle to hit this particular ledge. And for the most part, you know, just understand that open spaces in a skate plaza are essential, because for the fundamentals of all skateboarding start on the flat ground and learning tricks just on the flat ground. So proper speed and space to hit obstacles is essential. So it would be a lot more beneficial to have a lot more open space that gave you a lot more area and room to play with around obstacles than it would be as to try to tighten them up. It's a lot safer and makes a lot more sense. Ledges and planets, for the most part, will be the most prominent obstacle at a skate plaza. And there's many different things that constitutes a good ledge. Ledges would, you know, usually start out at curb height at about 10 inches and go all the way up to 2 feet tall. You know, for the most part, the average height of a ledge is about 17 inches. The details of ledges to consider are, you always want to have a nice square edge. You never want to bevel the edge. Adding aesthetic detail, I think, is really important. It adds a lot to the way it looks, but things to consider. You gotta realize that when a board is sliding across it, that it needs at least 4 inches of space in order to slide. Say if this was, you know, up towards the top, the wheel would get caught underneath it. So you always gotta leave at least 4 inches of space on the top of any ledge. You know, but as far as anything below that, as long as it doesn't stick out beyond the flatness of the ledge, it's fine. And you know, I encourage the more detail, the better. For the most part, this is a ledge to the extreme. This is almost like taking the same sort of idea of the handrail but applying it to the ledge down a tall set of stairs. Now, things to consider with this, for the most part, this ledge itself tends to be a tad bit higher than the rail, and usually a tad bit longer and a little bit higher to come off of, so it doesn't drive you into the ground. But again, still the same principles that apply to regular ledges will apply to the ledges that go downstairs. So essentially, ledges themselves are pretty much where all your basic fundamental grinding and sliding tricks are learned, and it's one of the more fundamental obstacles that there is, period, in skateboarding. And there's nothing better to a skateboarder than a nice open space with a handful of ledges just scattered about. With this plaza, you know, we added a lot of different spaces integrated that could be landscaped and add some life to the plaza, as well as adding details in the actual walls and ledges. You know, it's just anything to give it a uniqueness and give it that park-like feel, which is really what I'm going for, especially different colored concretes and just a lot of landscaping. Again, the skate plaza is more a park to skate in as opposed to a skate park, and all these different elements really enhance that sort of feel.
Why Kettering, Ohio?
Well, you know, originally I had been approached by the city of Kettering, saying they wanted to build a park, and I said that I would, help them with design. I was thinking at the time that, okay, well, they've got the money, we'll just design this thing and have it done in like 6 months. But then ultimately, through going through construction, and my dad would shoot photos every day, and then watching mistakes in construction and correcting them, and getting all the way down to the final, like almost completion and major mistakes where they had to go in and break out concrete and redo it, and just, culminating all the way up to having all my peers and people I look up to in the professional skateboarding community skating it the first day. It was a lot of pressure on me, and it felt good to finally watch everyone skate it up and it to be on. The Skate Plaza concept is simple. Just to build a real street environment, a park to skate in rather than a skate park, and a place built for skateboarding that duplicates street rather than just emulates it. I just didn't really think that it would take as many years and time and effort to really get it done, but it was well worth it. June 11th, 2005 was a really big day for me. It was 3 years in the making, but it was finally the grand opening of the world's first skate plaza. I really wanted to show the world just what level of skating could be done at the skate plaza, and that's why I decided to throw a real street contest.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am Tim O'Connor, and you are at the Rob Dyrdek Skate Plaza, the first of its kind. Look at this place. The dream is true!
What did you think when you saw it when you got here?
Mind blowing. It's a street park. This is real. It's a dream. It came true.
Dream come true, basically. A skateboard mecca.
It's fabulous. It's amazing.
I was pretty amazed.
I thought it was amazing, man.
It was amazing. It's amazing.
But it looks amazing.
It's amazing. Amazing.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's really awesome.
It's awesome. It's amazing. I wish it wasn't raining.
Professional skateboarding athletes, these guys are going to start blow drying the stuff. They got giant Vidal Sassoon hair dryers over here. It was supposed to rain all day, but Rob Dyrdek is a powerful man. He made some calls and got the rain to subside for a little bit. frontside flip.
So we have an award, the all-around award winner, of course, is Chris Cole. The best trick, the 6-point flip, Chris Cole, 360 flip, the 360 flip, the backflip 360 ollie, and of course we have the guy who skated all three the best, and obviously since he won them all, he won all $32,000, Chris Cole. They're all the same, so you got 4 of them, so you can go build a house with these. So everybody, thanks for coming out. I know everybody's dying to skate, so everybody be safe and be cautious of each other. It's going to be crowded for a while, so welcome to the Kettering Skate Plaza.
Which would you like to hear first, Portland?
Oh, the beginning, the beginning, the beginning, the beginning, the beginning, the beginning.
Okay, here we are. This is beautiful Lincoln Park. This is the very first handrail that I ever skated in my entire life. When I was 14 years old in junior high, it occurred to me, I had the greatest revelation of all times that I always felt like if you were to skate a handrail, you needed to go to ollie as high as the rail. But it occurred to me one day in the 9th grade, I want to say, that all you got to do is ollie out. And believe it or not, this is the very first rail that I ever board slid, okay? Now, as you can see, this is beautiful Lincoln Park in Kettering, Ohio. Now, this is also the first handrail that I ever sacked. See, I had no fear of this handrail. And my young friend was like, I kept saying, just do it, you just ollie out to it. Look how cracked up and ridiculous it is. And he said to me, he's like, I don't want to, I don't want to jump out and land on my nuts. And I said, yeah, you'll be the first to invent the ball slide. Word for word, I came around, I hit this thing right here, I racked my nuts on this thing. I slid all the way down, popped, shot me out, and I landed perfectly to my feet. Okay, mashed package, everything. I had to run behind these bushes and just check my mangled sack just to see if there was any permanent damage. Of course there wasn't, but that was, of course, was when the fear of handrails became a reality. It's been a long process, but in the end, it's bigger than just a single skate plaza. You know, it's really about trying to create a movement to try to have skate plazas built all over the country. The reason I wanted to do this documentary is I want to bring awareness to build these real street environments for skateboarding, you know? Because if we don't step up and make sure it's done right, no one's going to do it right for us. It's a simple concept. Just build a duplicated street environment. Not a skate park, but a park to skate in. Welcome
to the Kettering Skate Club. Oh my God, this thing is actually happening. Ladies and gentlemen, you are at the Rob Dyrdek Skate Plaza, the first of its kind. Look at this place. The dream is true.
This is heaven.
I'm still like taking it all in. I just got here. The place is pretty cool. It's amazing.
I really wanted to show how this place could be utilized straight out the gate, you know, a real street competition in a real street environment, and Red Bull put up the prize money, you know, it really made for, you know, a really, really exciting first day. I flew from Barcelona to Philadelphia, Philadelphia to LA, LA to Chicago, Chicago, Dayton, Ohio, just to come and see the Plaza. So I've seen it, I'm super stoked. I got to skate with all my friends and I had a really good time. So. That's why there's so many pros and teams and companies that have been coming through the Skate Plaza alone, you know, just in the middle of the summer, and it'll be like that as long as this place is here.
You gotta come here, check it out, it's banging.
It's everything that this concept was on paper, only it's live now and here forever.